Over my many years in the tabletop role-playing game hobby as a game master, I hear all kinds of people tell me, yeah, when I go to the table to run the game, some players will be into some parts that others aren't. Some will be into, combat more than social interaction, more than this, more than that. I say, I don't have that problem at all. You know what I do? I have a good talk with the players before I ever start running a session. I tell them it is their job to interact with the game, focus on playing. And whatever I put in front of them, well, that's the game. It is their job to attempt to interact with that part of the game. I explain to players that a tabletop role-playing game is made up of many different sections and types of game play. And it is their job to focus and play. If they are not focused in one area, it means they're not actually playing the game properly. Their minds are going somewhere else and they're not getting into the flow. I also have certain ways of explaining to people that they don't need to be actors, they don't need to be this, that, or the other thing. That playing these games are a lot more basic and straightforward than they think. They don't got to do a unique voice. The game isn't just a board game. They call it a role-playing game for a reason, right? So it's not just simple. You're playing with the mind, inside the imagination. That's why it's not just about dice. It's not just about moving a character around. There are elements of thinking, interacting, challenging the way you think. And it's inside of your mind where the game takes place. And I want them to simply focus on it. What I do is I promise players this. Focus on every area of the game and I will get you into a flow. A flow that will just have you playing. Don't come at the game as if there's expectations on you that there are not. Don't try to compete with other people or look good with the way you do a unique voice. You don't need to. Maybe worry about tone. Speak the words you think your character would say, but just role play. You're not there to compete or look good. You're there for the experience for yourself and your own enjoyment. But it's not just you. Your own enjoyment comes from participating with other people. And I explain to players that you're not all judging each other the way you think. Do not be nervous. Just play the game. And if you do, if you focus on social interaction, and then we get to combat, you focus on that. Or we deal with some other area of the game. You just focus on interacting with it. And my job as a game master is to get you into a flow inside of your mind thinking. That's where I'm going to challenge you. You just worry about playing the game. Again, not about how you come across. And you don't get lazy in one area. You don't go, oh, I'm not interested in this. You're playing the game. Just focus and play. Put your feelings or opinions aside and play the game. See, tabletop role-playing games are more than just a board game. So if you want to just play a board game, you just want to move your figurine around, well, you're playing the wrong game, right? If you want to play a tabletop role-playing game, it means you're already agreeing to all these areas. And the game can't be just about individual players. I tell them you're participating in a group. The game is not just about you. You can't make the game just about you. So if you come in and go, you know what, I'm really not into these other areas, so I won't put much effort in. Well, then you become selfish. You make the game only about yourself and not the experience you have with everyone at the table. If you just focus on playing the game, if you're in social interaction, you take part in that. If you're in the combat area, you take part in that. What you do, simply put, is put your best foot forward. What I promise as a game master, no matter what you thought before the game started, what you thought you're into, what you're not into, I will make sure that in the flow of that process, you will enjoy every part of the game as long as you make the effort to partake in that part of the game. You'll think, I'm not into social interaction. You will be if you just focus and put your best foot forward. Make your attempt to interact with it. and it will become fun. And you'll realize, is what most players realize, is it's not about you liking one area or the other. It's about how you feel as you go through the process. So if you're in a flow, if I'm challenging your mind, regardless if it's interacting with a non-player character or if it's rolling the dice as you have your character attack a monster or something like that, you'll realize as long as it feels good, as long as you're in a flow, it won't matter which of those things that you are doing. And you'll realize that all areas of the game have their own value and they come together. There's a reason it's a package deal. You're developing a character to have an experience with that character. That development matters even when you go into the fights, when you're searching around the dungeon. Because it's how you really take the game in. I know how my guy thinks. It will affect how you do combat, let alone how you interact with a merchant. So all these things come together to form a total package of a role-playing game. But you can't know that if you avoid one area, and you're Tom, you're playing Tom the Fighter, Tom the Cleric. That gets boring, my friend. That gets boring. Being able to have a relationship with your character, understanding who they are. You're Tom, but your character's name is Derek. You know how Derek thinks. He doesn't think like you. Derek might rush out for the fight when you wouldn't. But, hey, you play the character. And what you'll find is you get to step into somebody you're not. Be in a world that you're not in. It's called escapism. You know, you turn the game into something simple or take away from it when you try just to do the board game. Or you ignore the combat. That's boring. I'll do the social interaction. Well, then go play Monopoly if you're into the board game. Or go take part in a drama class if all you want to do is social interaction. You pigeonhole what the game is into one thing and not what it is as a total package. And it is something special. There's a reason these games came together the way they did, because when you play it in totality, you have a variety of experiences that come together in a combination, which you have to have an experience with to understand why that is special. Why you don't pigeonhole it in to a certain corner. So I tell all players, I don't care what you're into. You give me the same energy at all parts of the game. You focus on playing. And if you don't want to focus on the social interaction and not play, well, this is not the game for you. I'll ask you to eventually leave the table. You're not participating with that part of the game. I want people that participate. And that's what you do. You don't, look, if they want to go play with someone who's going to be like that, or play a Monopoly game, if they want to do moving around figurines, or go play an MMO, let them go do that. But don't let them turn your game into that. Because that's what players will do. They'll turn your game into one thing. If you have two players putting a lot of energy here and not everywhere, well, that starts adjusting your game in a very selfish way to them. They forget that they are participating with a group, right? They forget just to play the game. And that's all they're not doing. When they don't put energy here, they're not playing the game. They're not playing the game. And that's terrible gameplay. And there's no excuse for bad play. So over the years, I've had no issues at all. I have a good chat. I expect everybody to give me 110% in all areas of the game. Right? I tell them to put their personal opinions aside and their personal feelings and give me the 110%. And if they're not enjoying it after they give me that type of effort during gaming sessions, well then fair enough, we run into a problem. But if they actually participate, what I promise them is, and it will be true in a tabletop role-playing game, that they'll enjoy all areas of the game. That will just happen. They'll realize it. Really, taste is secondary. Taste is maybe like space more than medieval fantasy. Fair enough, but your participation in all parts of the game will be fun. And if you really are trying to avoid one area, well then in reality the game is not for you. You have pigeonholed the game into one thing instead of the totality of what it is. And we can't be sitting here catering to selfish people in a social game made for a group. That's just how it is. You can't have people be greedy. You can't have people make it that the game is all about them and what they want. And there's nothing wrong with pushing back against players that want to participate, but really they want it to be all about what they want and who they are. No, you're not trying here. Well, this is not for you. So, and you have a good talk with players. Like, just do not hold back. You expect people to partake in every part of the game. And if I notice players just not trying at all in one area, I'll be like, man, you're not even trying. Like, you got your warning. I expect you to start trying from now on, going forward. It's not like you can all speak at once, but I expect you to find areas where you can get a word in, say something, participate, talk to the rest of the group, take part in that part of the game. And if you can't after a warning, well, at one point I'll just be like, okay, dude, you're still not taking part. I'm going to have to ask you to leave the table. I mean, in all honesty, I'll do that with friends and family, right? But usually when you have friends and family, you can really have a good chat with them. So I would say, make sure you have a talk with them about how you feel about this. That's what you do. But I mean, my friends and family know I'll make an example out of them faster than I will a stranger, right? It's because I want to have the totality experience. I understand what it is to develop a character, but then to take that over to the fighting part of the game. I understand that the package makes something special. It's a development overall of a special, unique experience. And I do not want to take away from the totality of what a role-playing game is and pigeonhole it into a board game or into a drama class. If we take elements from these different areas, elements from storytelling, elements from drama class, elements from a gaming feature, and we put all that together, and that creates a very special experience. You can go back all the way to 1974 and the first bit of D&D. It tells you about negotiating with factions, negotiating with monsters, talking to the other characters, negotiating with merchants. Social interaction is a very unique part of the game and has been part of it since the beginning. It's not just being you move your figurine around on something. In reality, if you go back all the way to 1974, the figurine and the moving around board game thing was optional. The game, by default, was in your mind from combat to every other area. It is a mind game that is meant to challenge your mind and make you think and use your imagination as the real board of the game. Your imagination is where you move around, where you do things. And you are to participate with your words, from describing what actions your character will do, to speaking as your character when dealing with a faction leader, negotiating with a monster, or negotiating with a merchant, or talking to the other player characters. So it's always been a totality package. And it's when you get rid of people, becoming picky, when you just take it away and say, participate in all areas of the game, what you really find is this. All people, when they just focus on playing the game, participating in every area, they all enjoy it. So the idea that they'll only enjoy this or that, you find out that really doesn't hold water as long as they just put their best foot forward. It's their lack of effort in one area compared to another that creates a situation where they don't get into a flow. If you don't participate in the social interaction, it's going to be boring. If you do most social interaction, you don't participate much with your thoughts on the combat, you're like, oh yeah, okay. The less you participate, the further away from the flow you are in, right? And the less fun you'll have. So the way to have fun with these games is to simply participate. Participate. Participate, and you get into a flow. What do I mean by flow? I talked about it recently. Flow is when you put your phone down. We never had cell phones back in the old school. Flow is when you put your phone down. Players don't sit there and joke about their gas station trip outside of the game. The game master doesn't stick his book in looking for constant rules. If he has to, he'll just make a ruling over an exact rule and figure it out later. What's happening? You stay in the gaming process. You keep moving the game forward. that gets you into a flow at one point where you're just thinking about the game, you're escaping. And when you do, the tediousness that can come with breaking away from that flow goes away. Time will go by really quickly. And that's how you go from a tedious 3-hour session where you're on your phone all the time breaking away from flow to a non-tedious 8-hour gaming session where time has just flew by without an issue. Right? So let your players know that the only reason they're not having fun with social interaction, they're not participating. Or if they're more into that and they're not really making much of an effort to participate in other areas of the game, like combat, they're not going to have fun with it. Use the imagination, think, be creative, have fun. And your job as a game master, when you got players focused, is yes, hey, takes too long looking up a rule, stop doing that. Make a ruling. Be consistent, but make a ruling. Keep the game going forward. Don't create a break away from that flow on your own end.